And that's it. So I hand it over to you, Brian, unless we have questions that we need to answer.
Thank you very, very much, sir. You were very concise, short, and sweet. I think there was a lot to unpack there in the short space of time, but I have my little notebook. Even though I'm into branding myself, I had some interesting takeaways, and I'm sure our other participants would have taken copious amounts of notes and had their own personal takeaways. And I think the major takeaway for me personally is you have to take charge of your brand. And interestingly, when you mentioned that, I have an interesting working relationship with one of our participants here, which is the grand dame of fashion herself, Mrs. Claudia Pigas. She's tuned in with us today. And she has always, her mantra is, take charge of your brand. And I think that is something that resonates throughout. And I think other creators, as well as MSMEs who are trying to build their brand, that is what they need to do. So that is one thing. The second thing is I needed to ask a question. It relates to brand identity. How important is brand? First of all, what is brand identity? And two, how important is brand identity when it comes to building your brand on social media? Say, for example, Instagram. How does that, yeah.
Right, yeah. No, so to the first point that you made, and well, of course, hi, Claudia. That's why it's the first commandment, that idea that thou shalt have no better brand manager than thee. I do really think it's important that you own your brand and are able to control it as it grows, and make the decisions for your brand and never really let anybody else take that over for you. In terms of brand identity, so I have a unique take, right? So explaining first what a brand identity is, it connects to what we spoke about as a branding guideline, really in terms of what your logo is, what your fonts are, the colors that you choose, and the feel of the brand. It's extremely important. Don't get me wrong. What I would say though is, and I've seen it before, because we have done branding campaigns for different clients, more often than not, the successful businesses are the ones that spend the least amount of time working on their logos. Believe it or not. Because I do think that there can be an over focus and over emphasis on, I want to get this logo exactly right because this says everything that it has to say about my brand, which is not necessarily true. Like if you look at Ten's logo, like literally we got 3 options from our designer. We said we like this one and we move forward with it and continue doing business, because a logo is just a logo. Nike's logo doesn't mean anything. Apple's logo doesn't mean anything as a standalone. It's what you imbue the logo with over your years of brand development and brand building. So that's how I think when I think about brand identity and how important it is to really put the work in. It's not just something that you look at and it tells you everything that you need to know. It's something that you use as a launching point that you are proud of all the same, but that you are then able to give a personality, give a story. Like you have to put the work in to do that. So yeah. Oh, I think you may be on mute, Brian.
Yeah, sorry. I think you answered the question quite perfectly there. And so would you say your brand story ties in with your brand identity?
Yeah, so that's the way I see it. So you again, your brand identity, again, it speaks volumes, right? In terms of exactly what you want your brand to stand for. But not everyone is as design savvy or as design literate as your graphic designer or as you may be, right? So someone might see magenta and understand that that represents that your brand is warm and friendly. Somebody else might just see it, someone like me, and see it and be like, oh, that's pink. You have a pink logo. You know what I mean? So like you have to put in the work to be able to pull out the story from the things that exist in your brand identity. And I hope that that's what I was able to tell over the story of today's presentation, which is, so when 10 launched, it wasn't that, we didn't go into the fact that, hey, well, this logo was designed by so-and-so, and the black and white represents this and the other. No, we just said, hey, we're 10, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., we're going to be dropping influencers. You guys come and join and see what's happening. And then over time, over a 3-year period, we were then able to say, hey, we're 10, we worked in 10 different Caribbean countries. We're a Caribbean agency. Like, you would want to work with us. Like, your story has to evolve over time. And it doesn't necessarily take you 3 years to do that, but it definitely is something that you have to consider the longevity of it.
Okay, interesting. Guys, and I'm going to keep asking Darren questions for probably a couple more minutes, nothing too long.
Can I ask you some questions, Jeremy? Can you tell the participants about your work with, because I actually gave a tease like that when I posted today about your work with Claudia Pegas and how that has helped to build her brand as well?
I think with Claudia, I mean, I've had the pleasure of working with her over the period of, a couple of years. And I have learned a lot from Claudia. Claudia has been in this game 30 odd years. So she has been through thick and thin, trials and tribulations. So I think she herself understands that she was able to teach me certain things about understanding your brand. And one thing with her, that's the first thing she speaks about, her brand, and be it a photo shoot or be it a concept, it's always about how the aesthetic is, how would the aesthetic relate or reflect back to her brand. So on that side of thing, I think I have learned a lot and I've grown a lot working alongside Claudia when it comes to the visuals of how, kind of content she would want to post on her social media, what is expected, those things. So on that perspective, now I have another question. Talking about that and brand, say for example, so we have stalwarts in the fashion sector. We have Mailing, we have Claudia, we have Heather Jones. Now, when you think about Mailing, you think minimal. It's either all blacks or all whites. When you think of Heather Jones, you think vibrant, colorful flowers, batik, right? When you think of Claudia, she is Caribbean couture, so a brand, so those are 3 separate brands. Now, if, for example, say Mailing, after 30 years of being in the business, decides, okay, I think my brand identity, now I don't want to do minimalism anymore. How can that affect her brand as what she knows it as, in terms of if she wants to enter into a new realm, say, probably different colors or different cuts, or same thing for, say Heather Jones. Heather Jones is known for her batiks and paintings and colorful stuff. How would you advise a creative who is trying to probably reposition themselves or switch it up a bit without affecting the brand? How you would advise on that?
Okay. So again, so like I said at the beginning, right? I'm not the fashionable one of the group. I would use Mailing as an example since I have a little bit of an understanding of her. So yes, Mailing is known for minimalist fashion and the white and blacks, but I still think at the core of Mailing's brand is the fact that she is this innovative Caribbean designer, so that even if she decided to switch gears in terms of exactly what those designs look like, the core of that brand remains the same, right? So, and I assume that it would be something very similar with Claudia as well. So at the core of her brand, it's not what collection she is releasing on any given year or at any given season. It is at the core of the brand. She is Caribbean couture. And then she is in a position now to define that based on what expression she decides to give to that in any given year, right? And that's how I would expect that all designers should be able to position themselves. So you're not positioning yourself on a specific fabric or a specific type of dress. Like I just watched this, I guess I shouldn't even call that a documentary, but it was a biopic about this guy. You reminded me so much of you, Jeremy. Sorry. He became famous because he was doing hats, and then he eventually branched off into something else.
Philip Tracy.
No.
Okay.
But yes. But
yeah.
So it's almost as if he became so pigeonholed into a specific dress style that it was that it prevented him from being able to really evolve his brand as he went along. And I don't think any of the designers that you mentioned fall into that category. Like, I think they've established their brand separate from the type of clothes that they produce, and more as an overall kind of aesthetic that persons can appreciate and that they're drawn to. Yeah. Okay. I hope that answers the question. Okay.
Yeah, it did, because I mean, take for Claudia could use, right now she has a collection out celebrating African Heritage Month. It's Afro Prints. But then Claudia could use silks. She could use embellish fabrics. It could be whatever it is. I think she stays true to her brand, as what you were saying, to her core. But
through these different evolutions.
It's right, exactly. Or it has.
So I actually think about it like in terms of, this might be a kind of obscure reference, but even think of somebody like Picasso, who like went through his blue period, went through his cubist period, but it's still at the core, it's still the same artist that is producing
the same.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Darian, I think it might be wise after this fantastic session, great session, people I believe may want to contact you. Would you like to place your information in the chat box there?
Yeah, sure, no problem. Something I saw in the chat though, Brian, somebody wants to know if they could get a copy of the recording.
I think that yeah, sure, send us an email at Port of Spain, posfashionweek@gmail.com for your request, and we could possibly take it from there and respond to you. Or shoot us a DM in our Instagram at POSFW, and we will see how best we can facilitate that. So guys, we have Darian here.
No, I was just saying hi to Ariane.
Oh, yes, very well done, Darian. I share his sentiments. Yes, so I had, funny enough, I was going to say something. Yes, so anything else, guys? We have Darian here. As Darian said, he's a very busy guy. I was quite excited when he said yes, because I was like, last minute, short notice. He probably would have said no, but he solidified the fact that he's my boy. So thanks for that, and thanks for facilitating me on such short notice. But it's not only for myself, but I think for those of who are participants here today, I think they, out of anybody else, would have benefited out of this. So you are doing great service by giving us your presence today. So,
as you are, Brian, by pushing forward for the Spain Fashion Week. I hope the rest of the events continue to go really well. And when you get some downtime, let's drink and discuss it.
Sure, sounds great. So
who's your drink sponsor? Could we pick them up?
Yeah, man, for sure. So what's next for 10 Caribbean?
We're continuing to put in work. So we'll be celebrating our 5th anniversary next year. I have something that I really want to discuss, but at this time we wouldn't get into it. But
you don't want to give
kind of touching back on the presentation though, guys, and for the persons that are here now. I'm already thinking about our 5th anniversary, which is next year. Don't think I'm not already thinking about our 10th anniversary when that comes. Like, you have to be thinking far down the road as much as possible on your brand. Like, live, eat, breathe, and sleep it. And that's the way that you eventually get to a good place. But yeah, that's all I'm willing to say for now. Not disclosing
I think
anything.
that's a great way to send things. I mean, I feel as though nobody have questions because you covered all grounds.
No, I think it's probably just our friends in here. Just here to support. So for everybody who came, thank you so much. And Brian, of course, I hope you'll make the recording available. I will definitely post it to my YouTube page. And I will check out, are there any more webinars today, or this is it?
No, so yes, thanks for that segue, because we have a model workshop webinar and we also have a career day. So, you know, along those lines of, you know, bolstering and supporting the fashion sector, just as I would have said in my media launch yesterday, in our media launch yesterday, sorry, fashion is not just about attending a fashion show, it's so much more. It's an ecosystem of people who, if it's a domino effect, if it affects one, it will affect all. So that's why Port of Spain Fashion Week, we are also focusing on business development aspect as well as building capacity within the creative sector. So with that being said, you know, today we had our sessions, then we're going to have a session on careers within the fashion sector. We're going to have a webinar on that tomorrow. And then on Saturday, we have a webinar mainly for models, persons who want to venture into the career of modeling. So we have that on Saturday, and then we close off this great week of festivities at Movie Town from 4 p.m. for our final night of showcase, where the amazing designers we have here in Trinidad and Tobago are going to showcase their collections. So Claudia Pigas is going to be there. Ryan Chan is going to be there. You know, we have a lot of surprises, amazing things. So if anybody want to purchase tickets for that, you can hit us up on Port of Spain Fashion Week, send us a DM, and let us know, because tickets are going crazy. So, I mean, all protocols observed. You have to be vaccinated to attend the event. I have to make, you know, I have to stress on that. That's a criteria, because, you know, we want to celebrate, but celebrate safely, right? So with all that being said, Darren, I trust and hope you will be there on Sunday as well.
Yes, I will be there.
And you will.
Let me just pick up some other participants now. Hey, Dominique, Arisha, Jude, Cami.
I'm Judith. Also seeing a Judith Sobian in the building.
Yeah, I mean, just the persons I know, but thanks to everybody who joined. Oh, Candice, pick up. And thanks for having me again, Brian. We'll talk again soon. All
right, great, fantastic. So guys, again, touch base with Darren if you need anything. And if you want to follow up and get further information about the Port of Spain Fashion Week, visit our Instagram page at POSFW. And 10 Caribbean's Instagram is what, Darren?
It's 10 Caribbean, 10 Caribbean.
10 Caribbean.
You find us on all social media, that same hand.
Great. All right. So with that being said, I bid you adieu. It was nice. We shall do it twice. Thank you for having us today. Thank you for being with us today. All our participants, our partners, the Unit Trust Corporation, 10 Caribbean, and everyone, all the key sponsors that's making this Port of Spain Fashion Week an extreme success. Thank you. So enjoy the rest of your afternoon and be safe out there.
All right.
All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.